I'm the Curmudgeon. Welcome to my cellar. Well, how do you like my new camera? Now I get so much of me, I gotta pay attention to what I wear for shirts. But anyway, I got a small price to pay. Several interesting things to talk about tonight. First off, mention all my sponsors. Bard's Greyhawk, World of Game Design, Myth Horde, Dice Fanatics, Old Guard Games. Yeah, I think that's all of them. They, and of course, biggest fan video who puts this together for me. And someday the bards tell me they're going to have a music, and then we'll put that on the end, and this will be pretty cool looking. Of course, you'll still have to look at me. Can't have everything. Got to thank Jim Wampler for the camera. Gift for a gift. All right, we're going to talk about, there's some interest in Benny again that spells wish and wish. I wish you were teleported into the sun, and I wish no one remembered you. Well, trouble with wishes is they got to be granted. And I just read a really interesting thing about crocking, how you crock wishes. And there was an interesting thread going on. How often do you give them? Writing them more fuss budgety than any lawyer ever dreamed of. But that's an interesting concept. I got some more in here. Here's another one. He's illusionist. Okay, illusionist casts vision to see the moment victim is conceived by their parents, then alter reality to interrupt the moment. Magically inspired and contrived coitus interruptus. I gotta say that's an interesting idea. All right, then we're going to talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about alignments and why we have them and why you don't have them. I like them for reasons that I'll state. We have a question here that deals with them, so I'll wrap these together. Alignment, law, and chaos. Obviously, Moorcock uses the law of chaos concept to good effect in his Elric stories. But how much credit for his influence does Poul Anderson deserve for similar in his novel 3 Hearts and 3 Lions? Stop right there. Poul Anderson is on Appendix N. Gary and I both have often... Now, this is one of the few books that ended up on Appendix N that I hadn't read yet. There were about 8 on the list that I hadn't read, and about the same number that Gary hadn't read, just because, we hadn't gotten around to them yet. Mine, the ones he hadn't read were newer, the ones I hadn't read were older. But 3 Hearts and 3 Lions I hadn't read until he mentioned it, and I went out and I bought it. And I immediately figured out why. Because, yes, Poul Anderson's alignments are very much part of the framework of what we did for D&D. Why do we have alignments? Well, alignments prevent certain players from running amok, particularly clerics and magic users, because they got to stay in good with they got to keep good mojo flowing between them and whoever they're worshiping or representing or whatever. If you don't have this, people just get crazy. I learned something. Good 10, 12 years ago when I first, I guess it would have been about 10 years ago when I first did up my pre-gens to start running, taking the cons. I had thieves in there as part of the selection, but early on I had put alignments on everybody, and oh my God, was that a mistake? Because the thieves immediately they acted like thieves, and by encouraging them to play an alignment of a thief, it disrupted the hell out of the game because it was a convention game, 4 hours, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less. So I quickly learned I stripped all the alignments off all my pre-gens. Now, some of them are obvious, but I used alignments to keep people thinking about, it was to keep them in line, but it was also to prompt them to think about, where are you getting your juju, your mana, your mojo? You better stay in good with them. Also, if you proclaim to have a patron, even if you're a fighter or something, you better stay in good with them, or, oh man, how'd that guy hit me? He couldn't hit the right side of a barn. Starts happening to you, because alignments can be used by the DM to help the player refocus on his character, what he has proclaimed to be. Pardon me. All of a sudden burps. He proclaimed to be thus and such at the beginning, and okay, when he's no longer being what he said he was going to be, consequences can and should be in the offing, particularly if they're magic users or clerics, because they would presumably be most aligned, clerics most of all, and staying in good with whoever channels the power to them, living by their tenets and their faith. That's why paladins are such a pain in the ass. I really don't like them, but I use them as a bludgeon on the party if a paladin gets used and by one of the players, and the party starts running amok and doing weird stuff. I'll goad the paladin to you gonna let them get away with that? Look at that. And I'll make the paladin be the bad guy because I make him be a paladin, adhere to his code, his moral beliefs, whatever. And of course, then there's the people that play paladins and say they have a right to stick their nose in everybody. Those are the Puritan paladins. They're the worst kind. Imagine somebody like Cotton Mather that could wield a sword. Dangerous stuff. Let's see what we got next here. All right, here's another Benny combo. Death Spell, Disintegrate. Specifically says forever dead. The other, okay, it's death spell, and disintegrate. Death says you're forever dead. The other disintegrates all matter. There's nothing to resurrect. That may well be the ultimate. We'll have to see, but that sounds pretty permanent. Okay, we talked. All right, here's something going back to alignment. One of a PC and one of his this individual writes that PC lost a level in the group because of it. Apparently, it's optional 5e. I'm tickled by that comment. I think alignment has become kind of optional in most of what's going on now. Everybody's become murder hobos, which is, hey, that's fine. However you get playment out of the game, I don't care. I don't care if y'all want to be a bunch of clerics and go out and roll dice to convert the natives and build a temple. If that's what you get fun from, do it. By all means, do it. We're supposed to be having fun here. Right? Fun. Somebody sent me in some some goodbye words without any diacritical or pronunciation aids. So, but there is one here that, I thought about it, but I thought I might have used it, but maybe not. So I'll save it for the end. All right. Okay. Now I get some weird stuff. Some of it, I think, is penned at 3:30 in the morning after a long evening. So I do the best I can to figure out what they're asking. So this one's a mixture of all caps and regular caps, and so I don't know which parts to shout out. Tim, all caps, you knew about Molotov cocktails used by all classes in the early game. Well, if you're referring to the Great Hoax, the hoax has been perpetrated since 1974. Yeah. Though they really aren't Molotov cocktails. Dragon Magazine has an article about them. It wasn't while I was there. What about caltrops controlling access to a caster? I had guys in my group that paid dwarves and gnomes and stuff to make them caltrops. And yeah, I've had people, bring along a bag of them, simple, small ones. Not something that's going to bring down a horse, but certainly give anybody that doesn't have armored boots on second thought. Let's see. Okay, now Dragon Magazine clearly states that Gaijin, Western being a Fey run, can learn martial arts to all classes, offering. Okay. No, okay, this is all stuff that came after me. And what anybody put in Dragon Magazine after number 39, I have nothing to do with whatsoever. Sometime after I left, they took what I had created, an independent magazine that talked about all aspects of gaming, and they turned it into a house organ with monthly rules changes. So I can't really speak to who did what. I can comment on what I think about it, and I'm getting ready to. You knew Skip Williams' sage advice, Dragon Magazine clearly states. No, I didn't. And until you just mentioned it, I had no idea that Skip Williams took over Sage Advice because somebody else was doing it. And then somebody else. So Skip had to be like the third one. And I have no idea whether Skip was doing this on his own or Gary was perched on his shoulder. I don't know what level of trust Gary put in Skip. Say, Ed, yeah, fine, do the column. I trust you. You're not going to do anything that's going to break canon or create a fear. Or not. I don't know. So, no, I didn't know. And no, I'm not going to shout because my wife is asleep upstairs. And, okay, Gaijins can learn martial arts. And he's going to learn Kung Fu. And he took a purple pill, a magic matrix, red and blue. I don't know. Obviously, this guy... Okay, the Great Hoax. I mentioned that earlier. Great Hoax. No ordinary oil will throw against a wall and be ignited by anything common. That's crap. Olive oil, corn oil. We call them oil, but it's not petroleum. Molotov cocktails and flaming things that cover bad guys in flames are naphtha or petroleum based. I don't know, naphtha might be part of petroleum, I'm not sure. The stuff that we run around with, our flask of oil is like olive oil or canola oil or peanut oil. We never had petroleum. If you were going to use Jed Clampett's black gold bubbling up from the ground, yeah, you can ignite that stuff. It doesn't burn anything like you hope it's going to burn in terms of efficiency or heat. It's going to make a lot of smoke. But the Great Hoax that we've been playing since 1974 is I can take my little small size of a 2 times this size, little flask of oil, and burn flame, throw flaming oil. It doesn't matter if you have a wick hanging out of the top. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't combust like that. So that's a great hoax we've all been playing all this time. And Gary and I talked about it. And he says, what the heck, Tim? It's magic. And I says, Gary, you're right. It's magic. So it works in D&D. But why don't you go get a glass bottle of olive oil and throw it against a brick wall and see how much fire you got to shoot into it to actually get it to ignite? I think I know the answer. Oh, now I can hear it now. Well, I've got naphtha. Okay, you've got naphtha. And I want to see how you seal that naphtha. I want to see how well that naphtha stays sealed every time you take a tumble or a little fall or jump across a chasm or whatever. And if I determine that the naphtha seal started to leak, then I'm going to see what it eats up inside your possibles pouch or bag or knapsack or whatever you call it, the thing you carry your stuff in. Naphtha wasn't. Well, naphtha was known in that the Greeks go, ooh, that crap burns. Okay. Here's another interesting one I waded through. Started on War Games, University of Alaska Fairbanks, circa 75, 76. Naval and Armor, big sniper and panzer leader player. I was a huge sniper fan. We played the heck out of that down at Carbondale when it first came out. It's when we weren't playing D&D, we were playing sniper. And let's see, what Panzer Leader? Is that the orange? If that's the orange and black Panzer something or other game. We played the heck out of that too. And we played with double sets so we could put out double maps and just shoot the hell out of each other with tanks and stuff after we, got tired of the rules. Then D&D leading to a 2.975 edition advanced D&D. Now point for whatever. End of the run, but some 3rd edition made it back and 2nd edition advanced. And whatever, it is not a game you can win in any sense today. That's what he's saying now to 5. Well, did we ever win? That was so funny with the dude in Parks and Recreation. I want a D&D. There is no big wreath of laurel leaves and a giant milk bottle full of milk at the end for the winner. We win every time we come out alive. We win every time we gain some experience. We win, and we really win every time we go up a level. We win when we complete a mission or defeat somebody we were tasked with defeating. It's like Napster Futurama. If you're an investor, just throw your money down the hole over there. We differ on level limits and more, but it's nice to see real greater grognards than myself. Party on, Wayne or Tim. Did you ever play an enchanter, Tim? No. I was a magic user. Yeah, at one point along the line, enchanter was the name of when I was making it up to like 12th or 12th, 13th, wherever I finished that with that character. Yeah, I was an enchanter for a while. And on the back of a little book that I made up years ago to list all the OD&D spells, just pulled them out because I knew the people coming to my table wouldn't have them. I have a photo of Tim the Enchanter on the back page, obviously. If I could find a quality Tim the Enchanter hat with ram's horns, I'd probably have one of those just for the hell of it. Okay, let's see. Two more things to talk about. Coming up in July to a Kickstarter. I'm doing a Kickstarter. Never did a Kickstarter before. I'm doing it with Old Guard Games. And we're not doing the, oh, this much money and you get this. Oh, that much money and you get this much more. No, we're not doing any stretch goals. We're doing a flat out, here's the package. Okay? Curse of the Weaver Queen has been turned into the Curse of the Weaver Queen and the Medicine of the Weaver Queen. In the Medicine of the Weaver Queen, you take the books that you found in the first half of the adventure. Now, of course, it's going to take a party surviving through the first one to get into the second one, obviously, because there's so much to learn in the first one. And then you use what you learned there to travel around. You're going to teleport, sort of, mystical travel stuff with candles made of blood and stuff, and find all these ingredients, and then try to reverse the process that made the poor young lady into this abomination that she is. And I encourage the DMs to be quite liberal with the possibility of it working. After all, that's what the whole thing's about. But it shouldn't be a sure thing. And on the off chance that it fails, I had one of the most demented minds I know, Jim Wampler, who was on with me recently, make me up a table of what goes wrong when the spell goes off badly. It's going to be fun. And then we're still debating how much of a ridiculous amount of what they should all be given for having done this amazing thing that she's able to give them. So we're working on that. But I'm interested. We're going to do a Kickstarter. We're setting a goal to do. The first two are, this is not a pie in the sky Kickstarter. The first two are written. They're written. All right, they're written. They're being typeset. The art has been spec'd and contract signed for the art. There's going to be some terrain, I believe. Don't hold me to all this other stuff that's added in. It's not a contract. There's going to be some terrain. There's going to be some, I believe there's going to be some three-dimensional figures that are unique to this. There's going to be some kind of, some special dice. There may even be a dice tower involved with this. I'm not sure. I don't know everything. I think the dice tower thing may be something we do later on when we do a line of dice towers. That might be a motif on one. But anyway, I'm interested in doing this. The only other Kickstarter I got involved with is a lesson learned when I helped Ironwind do something. And then one last thing, and that's in 2 weeks. I'll be down in Texas at the North Texas RPG Con. Been going every year since Doug started it. It is a gas. If you've got any chance of being in Texas, you got to go on that weekend. It has the best ratio of people you've always wanted to talk to people that want, there's just a lot of, I get uncomfortable with this designation, but there's a lot of us who have reputations and have done things in the business, a very high proportion to the number of people who are just coming to play games and to rub shoulders and whatever. And I love it. Most of my contemporaries love it. We get time to talk to each other, which we don't get at other cons when we're so much busier and more tightly strapped into schedules. It's always hot, never rains. God, would that be nice? But it's a great time. The North Texas RPG Convention. It's in Dallas, and they've got a great website. You can go look at it. I'm going to be running the Wheel of Blame and sneak peek or sneak tip insider's information. I'm having a sculptor. I'm paying a sculptor to sculpt a coin. A one-of-a-kind coin. It has one of the many caricatures of me done by Jim Wampler on one side, and on the other, design and the words that say, "It's not my fault." So from now on, when anybody plays in my Wheel of Blame game, that's what they're looking for, one of those to be able to get out at the end. And I'm having them made so everybody gets to keep one. And I will not give them to anybody except people that play in the game. If somebody, a friend or whatever, wants one, I will deface it in some small way. But the only pristine ones will be people that actually play my game. So they'll get it. They'll have to, deposit in the slot to get out, and then everybody can take it home. I don't care. But I just decided I got tired of trying to find little novel things. So why not? It's not my fault. Got to get your coin to get out. Ching. And on that, I think I'm about done talking. So I'll say, dos vidania.